start the live. Preparing to live stream the meeting.
Our video is now streaming live on YouTube.
Are we?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you got notifications that we've got live.
I don't have my notifications turned on.
It says on the top of the screen.
Oh wait, no, we are live.
Live on YouTube.
Wait,
yeah, live on YouTube.
Start the live. Preparing to live stream the meeting. We're live.
Our video is now streaming live on YouTube.
Are we?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, I thought you got notifications that we've got live.
I don't have my notifications turned on.
It says on the top of the screen.
Oh wait, no, we are live.
Live on YouTube.
Wait,
yeah, live on YouTube.
Start the live. Preparing to live stream the meeting. We're live.
Our video is now streaming live on YouTube.
Are we?
When you turn off,
Yeah,
turn
we're
off the audio, you're going to hear the echo the whole time.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Mine's off, so I think we're live.
Yeah, Josh. It's Josh. No, that's all right now. That's all right now.
Yeah, but there's a lag. It's really weird. I'm watching it with a lag. So
Yeah, there's a 20-second lag.
Right. So, hello and welcome to 49 Unbeaten. We are live on YouTube for the very first time, and we are counting down to kick off ahead of Arsenal versus West Ham United in the Premier League. How are we feeling about this one? Obviously, depressing result in the Europa League, 1-0 loss. We went through an aggregate. We've covered that in our Olympiacos review podcast. We've seen the teams come out, sort of Callum Chambers comes in at right back. Makes sense, sort of West Ham, similar team physicality-wise to Burnley. Overall, we're happy with the team. Aubameyang starts, Lacazette starts, Saka starts. It's a strong team, considering the team we put out in Europe, Ben.
Yep, it's surprising, for me anyway. I didn't expect to see Mari start. I mean, I'm not upset about Mari starting. I didn't expect to see Chambers starting. I expected to see Cedric back. But it makes sense when you think about, marking from corners. There'll be Souček, the defenders, Antonio, all to mark. And we've seen Bellerin try and... was it Southampton he was marking Bednarak or something from a corner, which was just awful. So this might be a bit better. The pivot stays the same as you'd expect, because as we saw on Thursday, the alternatives can't control a game against a Greek league side. So fifth in the Premier League, you need your best two. And then going forward, I always think going forward, the front four sort of, you could pick them out of a hat almost. Yeah. There's most combinations will work. You put Pepe on the right, Saka on the left, that would work. But vice versa, that would work. Smith Rowe could go on the left, Gar could go on the left if necessary. You could do basically anything. And I quite like Aubameyang coming in, staying in rather. Even if he's going to be moved out of the middle, which is going to be quite interesting because he drifts wide all the time anyway. So it'll be nice to see. Do you
think it'll be a new formation with maybe two central strikers, or do you think Aubameyang will be on the left-hand side?
I think Aubameyang's out on the left and we've gone like it's out top.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, with our formation, it's not a 4-2-3-1, is it? With Aubameyang out wide and Lacazette through the middle, because Lacazette will drop deep. Aubameyang will drift inside, and Kieran Tierney's going to end up filling that space, which, provided we can find him, could be really, really useful. The only downside is he'll have a lot of work to do because you'd assume the link up, because obviously Smith Rowe won't be there, so he's not going to have as useful link up on that left hand side. But other than that, I think the team's pretty good, and I can see us winning this.
Dan, can you see us winning this? I sort of said in the preview that I'm resident pessimist. Obviously, I'm quite pessimistic. You look at some of who they've got: Soufal, Souček. Souček. There's Antonio. They've got a lot of strong players that I'm not sure that man for man, physicality wise, we can go up and challenge.
I can definitely see us winning it. I just think it's going to be a tougher game than we expect. I think it'll be a close game, but it's just we're going to have to really turn up and hopefully play some good football.
Yeah. So that is that. We'll just run through the team quickly. Leno starts in goal, as you'd expect. Chambers right back. David Luiz, Pablo Mari centre backs. Kieran Tierney left back. Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey in the midfield, and then a front four almost of Aubameyang, Odegaard, Saka, and Lacazette, which you'd expect. Saka on the right, Aubameyang on the left. Odegaard in the number 10 and Lacazette up top. Good to see Martinelli on the bench.
Good to see Reece Nelson not on the bench. Sad to see Reece Nelson not on the bench, but
Yeah, but Pepe
William
Jimenez-
misses out as well. With
William
a
misses
calf
out.
injury.
He missed out on the Thursday as well, didn't he? He
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
play.
he had a calf injury for both games.
So Dan is on his way home, so that's why he's had to drop out. He's on the train, so we do not blame him at all.
Got to get back towards the Arsenal.
Yeah, of course, you got to go back. So here's just message. So let's chat through it. So this game is important. Spurs on a bit of a slump, I think it's fair to say. Are they in the FA Cup? No, they've got Premier League game at Spurs, Villa later. So it's another chance to capitalise, and we've got to build on it. And we won the derby. We currently sit in 10th. It's a weird one. We're on 28 games played, so we've got a game in hand over Leeds, but Villa have got 2 games in hand on us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got a game in hand over us because they play tonight and they'll play again.
Sure.
We win today, we go on to 54 points, point below Spurs. They play later, so you never know what's going to happen there. We go above Villa, but again, they play Spurs, so we could drop back down. And then you look at it, it was 2 points behind Liverpool and Everton. Beat West Ham, it's 4 points below West Ham, who are in 5th.
Yeah.
Is the European challenge realistically on?
Yeah.
Have we given up too early?
It's been on. I think I've said after our back-to-back losses at Wolves and Villa that it was off.
Yeah.
But I was sort of forgetting how bad everyone else was this season as well. I think there's definitely scope for us still to finish arguably 5th. I mean, you look at it, we've got Liverpool after this and then a pretty favourable run of fixtures.
That
we can
Liverpool game could be massive after the international break.
Yeah, it could be.
Both our seasons.
It could make or break our season. I mean, I say that. It could make or break the respectability of our season. Europa League is respectable, I think, for us given the start of our season. Going into the season, you wouldn't expect it, but I think given the start of the season that we had, it makes that a little bit more bittersweet rather than just at the moment the season's just a foul taste, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been a great season in terms of we finished 8th last year. Probably we could finish worse than 8th this year. Out of the FA Cup, which we won last year. They're still in the Europa League, but you look at we're arguably 3rd favourites for that. I mean, I said it earlier. We're on the favourable side of the draw. If you look at it, the way the World Cup does their system, we're on the right side of the draw, aren't we?
Yeah.
We if we win in the quarterfinals, we avoid United and Ajax.
But we do get Zagreb or Villarreal. So I mean, there's no easy team left in it.
It's not an easy team. It's definitely not an easy team. But if you had to choose, you say, I'd rather play Villarreal or Zagreb than I would Man United, Roma, Ajax, or Granada.
Sure.
So it's favourable. It's possible that we could be in a Europa League final. If we get there, you'd expect...
Don't say that yet.
No. But it's a possibility. We're in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, sure.
We play, although it's probably a disadvantage, we play at home first. You think, right, if we go at home, we go put 3 or 4 past them. Potentially, and then semi-finals and finals and possibly Man United, which in a one-off game, anything could happen. And we've seen that through the league. So that competition is out the way for now. We've got league games first and an international break. Then we come back and play Liverpool. So it could, every game, and we keep saying this and we joke that every game is now a must-win game. But the form of West Ham, if we win today, this could massively disrupt them. Because then they have 2 weeks off, players going out on international duty, they come back and they're on the back of not a great run of form. I think they've lost quite a few of they have played bigger teams above them. So I'm not going to discredit them. They're in 5th, they're having a great season, but this could be massive for us. This could be absolutely massive. Has Arteta got his team selection right today?
I think time will tell, won't it? It's very easy to sit here and say he's got it wrong because he's named 11 players that aren't the 11 players that you want to see on the pitch necessarily. But if he's named 11 players that are the fittest, the most prepared to play, if he's named 11 players that are going to work really well together with the way we play, and if he's read, because let's be honest, he's going to be more tactically on it than we are out here. Yeah. And it's going to be easy to say with hindsight, he should have done certain things. But looking at the team selection, you're managing Emil Smith-Rowe's minutes. You've still got a pretty good balance in your attack. Martinelli's minutes, you think he might get 30 today if it's, it could be interesting for him to get 30.
I mean, he looks to be the only sort of recognised striker on the bench. So if, God forbid, we necessarily get an injury to Aubameyang and or Lacazette, he comes. Pepe comes in the wing.
If we get an injury to one, I think we'll probably see Pepe come on and the other go through the middle. Yeah, but yeah, if we get an injury to both, then we might as well just end our season.
That'd be awful. But I'm happy with Chambers. I really like bringing Chambers in. Competes with the physicality of them. I mean, he's not going to go man for man with Antonio because Antonio is Antonio playing or is he injured?
Antonio's through the middle. They've got this is the issue I have though. They've gone for a bit of a tricky. I expect them to play Fornals, but they've gone for Ben Rama, who obviously hasn't set the Premier light since moving from Brentford, where he set the Championship light. But 1v1, you probably still fancy him against Chambers, and he's probably got the beating of him. I'm just worried it's going to turn into that time when he got bullied by was it Montero at Swansea.
I think you're right. I think Ben Rama, for a winger, he's quite big in terms of he's quite tall. He's not necessarily like your tricky little winger. So physically wise, you could put him against Chambers and it's a 50-50 who wins. But if Chambers was playing centre-back going up against Antonio rather than Mary's a bit smaller for a centre-back, I'd be a bit more... But I think it makes sense. And then you sort of Cresswell going forward as well, you'd expect him to do quite well against him. I mean, Bowen against Tierney. I mean, Bowen's a great player, don't get me wrong, but Tierney should boss that. I'm dreading playing Jesse Lingard. Because I know it's not the Emirates, but he loves playing against us, doesn't he? And he's all that player that be quite up. He's in the England squad. He'll want to prove that he should be in that squad and start making us come to the Euros, and what better way than scoring or getting a couple of assists against Arsenal, which he seems to love to do.
Yeah, but at the same time, with all due respect to Jesse Lingard, it's Jesse Lingard, isn't it?
It's a revitalised Jesse Lingard, though. But
it is still Jesse Lingard. He's not fit, If you give him, the time and space, then fine. But you'd hope our midfield will be able to shut him out pretty effectively. I say this now. I mean, I'm sure it'll get clipped after he scored two. But it's a really interesting one because normally I'd fancy us at London Stadium against this side. Again, they disrespect David Moyes' side, traditionally a bit more reserved, and you look at the attack we've got, those front four should be able to do some damage against, on paper, Craig Dawson, who's 34, maybe older. Who knows? I think he stopped aging a while back.
I mean, Cresswell is a decent left back. It's a Diop. I mean, you look at it, it's Craig Dawson's where you look at it. Fabianski, former Arsenal player, we know he's had a great season, but he's also prone to a mistake. Again, Declan Rice, sort of players like that. We know they have quality, but again, it's man for man. We should be doing the job on them.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, you look over. Would you rather have Antonio up front or Aubameyang or Lacazette? Would you rather have Saka than Bowen? Would you rather have? So, I mean, West Ham, I think they're a great team and they've had a great season. us he deserves to be in 5th, arguably higher. I'd love to see him in Europe next season. I mean, if we couldn't get in, I mean, I'd rather it be West Ham than Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather it be anyone than Spurs. So,
I'd love to see West Ham get in Europe. It ultimately owes. It's at least they're owed after the season they had. Credit to David Moyes. I think he's done brilliantly. I think Arteta spoke about he made him a better man when he was playing under him. So there'll be a lot of respect there. I'm just worried that we don't necessarily have the leaders in that team to boost the mentality, because although we went through in Europe, still losing 1-0, that's 3 times in a row now we've lost at the Emirates to Olympiacos.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, we've got to look at it as we went through. Like, we were in the draw. So, Friday midday, we were actually turning on the TV to see who we got. Olympiacos weren't. You've got to look at it that way. I mean, if the players aren't looking at it that way and saying, we got away with one, we need to be better, let's start being better tomorrow or Sunday, then, you've got to question the attitude of the players. And I think you can question a lot of things about the players, but their attitude under Arteta has been pretty good, generally.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, but you still look at the record, it still goes down as a defeat. Sort of, if you say, in the last 5 games, we still have lost X, Y, Z.
Sure, but Liverpool lost a couple of the last games of the season, didn't they? Last season, after they'd already won the league. It's a different mentality when you think you're already through or you've already won. I
mean, I take into account, I'm looking at this in sort of the most pessimistic way possible, to sort of almost soften it if something
goes wrong.
Like, if the worst case happens. So, we'll just go and sort of just talk about how we can see the game going. Obviously, it's obviously going to be a very physical game. It's going to be like there'll be a lot of battles. You could sort of maybe see some tempers getting flared, some sort of hard tackles and challenges. What's their danger? Who is their danger man? Because you look at it, you sort of see Jarrod Bowen, very good, very tricky winger. Antonio couldn't put a bullet header on it. But you look at it in recent form, Craig Dawson scored, I think, 3 games in his last 5 or something crazy. We know Kufal can do well. We know Souček can hit a ball and hit a header. Creswell can put in a cross. Jesse Lingard's in great form.
They've got a lot of ways of scoring. I think that's the beauty of West Ham at the moment, playing the football they're playing, even if they're not getting the results. Generally you saw West Ham as nicking a goal from a set piece, and they've still got that because they've got those. They've got Rice, Souček, Issa Diop, Craig Dawson. You've got 4 players already who can head a ball pretty well, and then you've got Aaron Cresswell over it, who's got some of the best delivery in the league. But now they've added that little bit of, I don't know, I suppose inventiveness, because obviously with Rice and Souček, they've got that shield in front of the back 4 that has been arguably the best one in the league. And you've got Jesse Lingard in front, who probably knows he's got that shield, and so has a lot more freedom than he did. If he was playing with someone like a Manchester United, if you're playing with Pogba, for example, who's more inclined to attack than defend, he'd probably be less likely to try the inventive thing on the pass, just because, I think that would make more sense if he was more conservative. But at West Ham, he seems to be able to be free, and he seems to be enjoying his football again. And he is a danger on his day, and he's had a lot of his days recently.
It's a really tricky one because I don't want to sort of use the cliche again, but it's football, anything can happen, and we sort of, on paper, 5th against 10th, you'd expect team in 5th to prevail normally, but we're coming off the back of the North London derby win, progressing into the next round of a European competition, into the quarterfinals. We've gone 2 steps further than what we did last year, and we're beating teams around us. We beat Spurs, we beat Leicester. I know they're sort of third, not really around us, but again, you can only beat what's in front of you, and we've beaten them. Burnley, again, you can sort of put that down to stupid mistakes.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If we're going to lose today, is it going to be because West Ham were good or because Arsenal were Arsenal?
I mean, yes, you look at the Burnley game. Obviously, Xhaka, Leno was just disaster at the back. Again, sloppy mistakes. But then you look at Spurs, and we sort of played really well for 75 minutes. Even when we went behind, we were still the much better team. And then we get tired for 15 minutes, and we nearly let it slip. And sort of Harry Kane hit the post. Should have scored a tap in. He's missed 2 in 2 games now. Harry Kane's having a disaster. But it's stuff like that. And we can't keep getting away by the skin of our team, because it's going to come back to cost us, like it did against Burnley.
I was going to say, in fairness, a lot of the times we haven't got away with it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Sort of Burnley, we
played twice. Leeds United, we got away with it but we got a draw when we were in the ascendancy. Wolves, obviously, we didn't get away with it. There's a lot of games we've lost because we've done something stupid rather than another team's done something really good.
Yeah.
And we've got away with it sometimes. We haven't got away with it a lot of times.
I don't know. It's a really weird season. I know everyone's in the same boat. It's been a strange season. It's been, for most clubs, it's been 0 fans in there. You sort of seen, we had 2 or 3 games that we had a few thousand in.
And a couple of Europa League games.
Europa League games. I think it might have been 1 Premier League. I don't know. A lot of so long ago now, sort of. But again, no one's really had that advantage, and home advantage doesn't really come into it. And I think that's what's benefited West Ham. That you've sort of seen recently, that stadium, if anything goes wrong, if they go a goal down, if you make a mistake, it gets very hostile very quickly. And I think that's almost what's played into the hands of teams going there and getting results, because you can feel it as a fan going to watch a game there, that sort of the mood might sour a bit if sort of West Ham haven't scored, or if they miss a chance or whatever. Has that benefited them not having any fans in there? Because you sort of look at it and you sort of see Sheffield United last season with fans were absolutely amazing. They were sort of rocking high at 5th at one point. I know they finished 10th, was it? Or a bit lower down than what they were doing when the sort of fans sort of couldn't come in anymore from March onwards. But they still had a great season. It's the opposite for West Ham. Is it almost, is a benefit playing without fans? And how has that affected Arsenal as well?
I think for West Ham, it'll be, whilst you can't underestimate the importance of fans in a football stadium, they give the game life. It'll also be very unfair to say that fans are the only reason West Ham are doing very well. They've got very, very good players. I wouldn't say they've got a brilliant side particularly. There are places you look at it and go, well, that's a bit shaky. Craig Dawson and Issa Diop as a partnership at the back, that's a bit shaky. But they've got some very, very good players. Kufal, Souček, we've already mentioned, Lingard, Rice, of course. I think they might have benefited from it, but they've also benefited from playing David Moyes football under David Moyes.
Yes.
They've got an identity again. They've got players that fit David Moyes' idea of what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting goals from all over the pitch, whether it be centre back, central midfield. That's one of Arsenal's biggest problems, isn't it? We don't get goals from anywhere other than Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Saka occasionally.
I mean, have we been affected by the lack of fans? I mean, I really struggle with that, because it's not like obviously the Emirates is sort of joked about it's really quiet, and that we don't sort of cheer the team on enough or whatever it is. But we're doing worse in sort of league form and table wise than we were with fans. Sort of, have we fallen into that boat of not having those fans to sort of spur the team on? Sort of, you look at that going behind in games and sort of crucial games, and it's sort of, you can feel the energy of the fans. Have we sort of been a victim of that?
I think every team has. I mean, take the North London derby as an example. 75 minutes, Lamela gets sent off, Arsenal retreat into their shell with fans there roaring them on. Do you think that would happen? Probably not.
Mm.
But then at the same time, Spurs would have 4,000 fans at the other end roaring them forward. It swings and roundabouts, and I think some teams like Sheffield United have been affected a lot more than others. But I also think that every team has been affected, and I think the standard of football has dropped as a result as well, because players don't have, they might think they're playing 100% when actually with fans there they play 110%. That's the difference. If you've got spectators there, then they might make a huge difference, to your mental side, to just the adrenaline going through you.
It's a really tricky one. We've got about 6-7 minutes until kickoff, so we'll do our score predictions. We'll come off with about 5 minutes pre-game commentary that we'll go and let you all watch. There's one of you in there. There's two viewers. One of them is me checking on the chat, and we've got someone else. So hello to someone else. Just let us know who you are. We will say hey before the game. So we will do score predictions. Dan, who was with us for the first few minutes, has predicted 1-0. We need a win ahead of going into the 2-week international break. So a 1-0 away win, says Dan. Ben, what are you thinking?
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1?
2-1.
Who's going to score our goals?
Aubameyang and Ødegaard. Let's go with Ødegaard.
Okay. Let's go for 2-0 Arsenal. I'm being positive for change.
All of us.
What a surprise. I think Lacazette will score, and David Luiz. I have a feeling David Luiz is going to score a header from a corner or something, like score a tap or something. I don't know. I have a feeling David Luiz might get on the score sheet today.
Whatever you've been smoking, I want some, please.
I need to confirm. I've never done it in my life. I've never smoked anything. No, I don't know. I've just got a feeling about David Luiz. And you never know. Anything could happen. So we've got 1-0, says Dan. Ben says 2-1. I say 2-0. We might be back at half time. You never know. We'll see. But hopefully, if we do come back on, we'll be in a good mood. If we don't come on, it's because we're losing, or we're down to 10 men, and it's just can't be bothered. So thank you for tuning into the live. That one of you in the chat, we appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share. This has been 49 Unbeaten Live, episode 29, Arsenal versus West Ham preview with myself and Ben. Come on, you Gunners. We need to get a win today. Let's go.